Good afternoon and welcome to today's episode of Law is Stranger Than Fiction. I'm Barry Shull, one of the co-hosts, a shareholder here at Richards Brandt Miller Nelson in Salt Lake City, Utah.
And I'm your other co-host, Stephen Bergman. I'm also a shareholder at Richards Brandt Miller Nelson in Salt Lake City, Utah. And today's story is about prisoners losing their lunch money. Barry?
Well, on that intriguing note, today's story comes out of Alabama, where a sheriff was able to pocket more than $750,000 over a 3-year period thanks to an arcane state law. Isn't that correct?
Well, that's my understanding. And the state law basically says that a sheriff is tasked with feeding the prisoners in his care or her care, and any money that is left over, the sheriff is entitled to keep. And that's apparently what has happened in this case.
And what did the sheriff do with these excess funds, Stephen?
He's an enterprising sort. Apparently he and his wife have been investing in real estate and have amassed a large amount of value in real estate properties and recently bought themselves a rather nice home, apparently.
And any idea what their net worth is?
According to the story, they have more than $1.7 million in real estate that they've acquired, which indicates that they're investing their lunch money very well.
And what was the reaction from those who were incarcerated to this story?
No word about whether the prisoners had lodged any complaints. A lawsuit was apparently brought against all of the sheriffs in Alabama regarding this statute, claiming that it was a misuse of public funds for them to keep the money. In the case of the sheriff that we're talking about, who apparently has pocketed so much money, his defense was, that's what the law says. I hired a dietitian, and that dietitian made sure that the prisoners each received the appropriate level of nutrition.
And I understand that the variety of items on the menu might have been broader in an ideal world. What do we know about that?
We don't know anything about that, but it does bring back a story that I remember from a few years ago. I believe it was in Vermont or somewhere in the Northeast. They made a dinner, I guess you could call it, called Nutriloaf, which had the requisite amount of calories, protein, fat, carbohydrates, and vitamin supplements baked into a log, for lack of a better term, and served up to the inmates. Apparently, this loaf tasted about as bad as it sounds and prompted a lawsuit under the United States Constitution for cruel and unusual punishment.
Now, I understand here, for the most part, according to one account, the prisoners got meat maybe once or twice a month, and the remainder of their diet was beans and vegetables.
That very well may be. The question is, does that meet the minimum nutritional requirements? And apparently in this case it did, although I do understand that the opponent of this particular sheriff has said that he will take those excess funds and actually put them to a public benefit rather than pocket them if he's elected.
Well, that's quite a story.
Yeah. So ultimately this story is about complying with the law, and if you have a business or a personal issue and you need to deal with regulatory compliance or other issues, please contact the attorneys at Richards Brandt Miller Nelson. We have a wealth of experience in government regulation and government compliance. And for now, this is Law is Stranger Than Fiction.